Bonjour. Aujourd'hui, on va parler des accents. So today we're going to talk about les accents. Vous avez besoin de votre cahier interactif, bien sûr, et un stylo ou un crayon. You will need your notebook, of course, a pen or a pencil. I'm going to use a pen. So tournez à la page 12. And I had done this video once already, but there was a glitch with the video and it didn't come through. So I'm going to go through these notes with you. So puis, bien sûr, écrivez la date. So write the date. Make sure you use la date, which is appropriate for you. Les accents. Et en français, il y a 5 accents. And in French, there are 5 accents. There is also this wonderful phrase en français, a phrase called il y a. And if you would like, please actually write that il y a means there is or there are. And there is no equivalent to il y a really in English, although there is an equivalent in Spanish. It is a phrase that you will see often in French, and I use it quite a bit. So, il y a 5 accents en français. Le premier accent, c'est l'accent aigu, which is written with the E. So, E, accent aigu, and it's used to change an E sound into a long A sound. And if you remember when you did phonics in elementary school, sometimes you would write that that's how a long A sound is pronounced. An example word for this is éléphant. E, accent aigu, L, E, accent aigu, P-H-A-N-T, éléphant, instead of elephant. So the second of our accent, le deuxième accent, c'est l'accent grave, and it is the opposite of l'accent aigu, and it can appear over any vowel, although usually not the vowel I. And it has 2 uses. On l'utilise en deux manières, so we use it in 2 different ways. The first and most common is to change an E to an E sound. So it changes E to E, a short E sound like jet, zèbre, and chèque. And you'll notice that CH en français makes a sh sound. C-H-E, accent grave, Q-U-E, chèque. The second use for l'accent grave is to differentiate homophones. Now you'll remember that a homophone is a word that sounds the same but is spelled differently. And in this case, the difference in spelling is to add an accent. So our first set of homophones is a and a. And this word, sans accent, without an accent in French, means has. This word, avec un accent, means at or to. Our second set of homophones is ou and ou. Ou, sans accent, without an accent, means or. Ou, avec un accent grave, means where. So you can see that they mean very different things, and the only difference is the fact that you've added an accent. Now what I would like you to do is to add the word homophone into your meta-language section. So tournez à la section de meta-language in the back of our text. Skip a line, add our term, homophone, underline it, and then we are going to define it. A homophone is 2 words, or are 2 words, that sound alike but are spelled differently. The first example is in English, bear, B-A-R-E, and bear, B-E-A-R, and our second is in French, a, sans accent, et a, avec un accent grave. Once you have that copied, you can turn back to page 12. Page 12. So back here on page 12, we have le troisième accent, c'est la cédille. And la cédille change le hard C to a soft C. So essentially it changes a K sound, like K, to an S sound, like S. So français, if we write français, F-R-A-N-C-A-I-S, sans accent, without any accents, you would pronounce it franquais. Just by adding the accent, you change it from franquais to français, comme ça. Le quatrième accent, O. Le cédille, it looks like the bottom part of a 5. I normally write it as a little comma attached to the C. Le troisième, c'est le quatrième accent, le troisième. And le troisième says that if you have two vowels that are working together, like the AI in français, normally in French you say those together. AI makes an A sound in French. But if you add un troisième, AI all of a sudden changes to AI, as in this case, Haïti, which is how you say Haiti in French, because when you add the troisième to the second vowel, you've added another syllable. So Noël, which is a boy's name, becomes Noël, which is the word for Christmas in French. Now, il y a un accent de plus, there's one accent left. If you need to, go on to the next page, and then you would label that les accents, C-O-N-T, meaning continuer, continued. Et le cinquième ou le dernier accent, c'est l'accent circonflexe. And l'accent circonflexe is a very interesting accent in that it has nothing to do really with how a word is pronounced, more with how is a word spelled in another language. So if you look, forêt, hôpital, île, and pâté all have an accent circonflexe. And when you change those into English, they become forest, hospital, île, isle or island, and paste, all of which have an S in them. And that accent circonflexe tells you that in another language, the next letter would be an S. Two things to remember about les accents. Le premier, accents are part of spelling. So, when you spell words out loud, say the name of the letter and then the name of the accent. So, lettre puis accent. So, pa, P, A, circonflexe, T, E, aigu. Or over here, Z, E, accent grave, B, R, E. Or here, français, F, R, A, N, C, cédille, A, I, S. Now, comme toujours, s'il vous plaît, tournez à l'indice, turn to the index, and add les accents à l'indice, page 12, 13. Et comme toujours, la date, so always the date, and please make sure you are using the date that is appropriate for you. Merci.